17,000 phone calls a day, not in New York, not in London, in Lagos, in Cairo, in Riyadh, markets where most Silicon Valley founders could not find on a map without Google. Two people walked away from Goldman Sachs and Meta, and what they built next explains something critical about where your career is heading, whether you work in tech or not. But there is a detail buried in this story that most outlets completely glossed over. And when I found it, it stopped me cold. I will get to it. If you are new here, subscribe. I cover stories like this every single day. Here is why this matters right now. The global voice AI market is projected to hit over $40 billion by 2030, and almost every major player is fighting over the same 10% of the world's population. English speaking, high income, already digitized. Meanwhile, Africa alone has 1.4 billion people. The Middle East is spending hundreds of billions on economic diversification. The two founders who saw this gap are Shafik Taib-G, formerly of Goldman Sachs, and James Baumforth, who left Meta. Their startup is called Movne. None of that was the real problem. The number that stopped me cold is coming up. According to TechCrunch AI, Movne has built its own proprietary voice AI stack specifically designed for African and Middle Eastern markets, and it is now handling more than 17,000 calls per day. Let that sink in. They did not take an existing American voice AI product and slap an Arabic language pack on it. They built from scratch. And that distinction matters enormously because the reason every other voice AI company has failed in these markets is not a lack of demand. It is a fundamental misunderstanding of how people in these regions actually communicate. Languages like Arabic have dozens of dialects. Nigerian Pidgin English is nothing like the Queen's English. Swahili, Amharic, Hausa, these are not edge cases. They represent hundreds of millions of daily speakers who have been completely locked out of automated voice services. What does this mean for you? If you work in customer service, sales, logistics, or fintech, this is a preview of what is about to happen everywhere. Voice AI is not replacing call centers in San Francisco first. It is replacing them in places where labor was already cheap, which means the cost floor for voice interactions globally is about to collapse. By the way, if this kind of story is useful to you, hit like. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people. What I am about to show you is the part most people are missing. Here is the insider angle that nobody else is covering. The real genius of what Movne is doing is not the language models, it is the infrastructure play. In most of sub-Saharan Africa, reliable cloud computing infrastructure barely exists. Internet connectivity is inconsistent. Latency kills voice applications. So Movne did not just build better AI, they built the pipes. Their proprietary stack handles telephony, speech recognition, natural language understanding, and response generation, all optimized for low bandwidth, high latency environments that would cripple any off-the-shelf solution from Google or Amazon. This is where the villain enters. The big tech companies, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, have had years to serve these markets. They chose not to, not because it was impossible, but because the unit economics did not look attractive enough on a quarterly earnings call. A farmer in Kenya needing automated crop insurance verification does not move the needle for a $3 trillion company. But aggregate 2 billion underserved people and suddenly the economics are staggering. Taib-G and Baumforth saw what the giants refused to see. Think about what that means for you personally. The next wave of tech wealth is not going to be built by chasing the same oversaturated markets. It is going to be built by the people willing to do the unglamorous infrastructure work in places others have written off. Stay with me. The last part is what actually matters. Here is the payoff. Remember when I said a detail in this story stopped me cold? It is this: 17,000 calls per day is not impressive because of the number. It is impressive because of the growth trajectory it implies. Movnay is pre-Series A. They are a startup. Most voice AI companies backed by hundreds of millions in venture capital are not processing that volume in their primary markets, let alone in markets considered frontier. This means one of two things is about to happen. Either a major tech company acquires Movnay within 18 months to shortcut their way into Africa and the Middle East, or Movna become the de facto voice infrastructure layer for 2 billion people, the Twilio of the global south, except with AI native architecture from day one. My prediction: we see acquisition offers before the end of 2026, and whoever buys them will not be buying the technology. They will be buying the data to 17,000 daily conversations in languages no other company has trained on at scale. That is the real asset. That is what nobody is talking about. Two people left the most prestigious institutions in finance and tech to build something in markets Wall Street ignores, and they are already winning. If that does not tell you where the next decade of opportunity lives, I do not know what will. Subscribe to FutureEdge. I cover this every single day. See you tomorrow.